Hey guys, welcome to Gadget First. Today we've got a look at the Blackberry Z10. I've had this about a week now, and first impressions are pretty mixed, to be fair. It's certainly not the big revolution that we were hoping from Blackberry. Sure, it's a lot different to their old OS. The Blackberry 10 OS is a lot nicer than their previous phones. But, well, you have to judge for yourself. I've not made a review on this yet, so let me just sort the focus out. There we go. So your home, the lock screen gives you a bit of information on the notifications that you see. I've got 5 Facebook notifications, 37 emails, and 1 new reminder. So you basically slide up, you get a nice animation as you slide up where the lock screen kind of fades away. I've got a Facebook calendar notification here. So that's pretty handy. It is very integrated with Facebook. I've noticed that quite a lot. So I'll just dismiss that. And basically your home screen is kind of the task manager. That's the only way I can put it really. Then you slide across to get your notifications and basically like a hub of emails, Facebook notifications, texts, everything. You know. And there's no buttons on the front of the screen. You literally use gestures for just about everything. So you slide up to go home, and then if I slide right, you get to the apps. So it's not like a dedicated app drawer like you have on Android or Android. It's closer to what you'd see on an iPhone, where the apps are on the home screen. There is a little bit of lag on the OS, but you know it's not too much. But it does affect browsing quite a lot. If I open up a web browser, that's not the smoothest. So here I'm just checking out some comments. And if I go on a website, what do I use? I usually use the BBC. The keyboard, I can say something pretty good here. The keyboard's really nice. Doesn't look too brilliant, just aesthetics wise. But it really works quite nicely. There's no lag whatsoever. Like touching keys is really instant. But let's have a look at a website. And there's really nice suggestions as well. Like as soon as I put BBC, I click dot, and you can see above the C, it says .co.uk or .org, or so it knows I'm putting the suffix for the website. And then you just click space, or you just click it and it automatically does it. And I'll go on to, so you see the mobile site here. It's really odd doing it with a webcam. Everything's back to front. So you know it's fairly smooth on the mobile site. If I scroll down and go on to the desktop, it's pretty fast at loading, I'll give them that. And transitions seem okay. But web browsing itself is a little bit slow, I find. What seems to be working remarkably good now, but sometimes it just lags a little bit, which is a bit annoying. Now, what I do find really annoying with the new Blackberry OS is that if you hear a notification sound when it's locked or something, you go to unlock it expecting maybe a pop-up or something, something to let you know what the notification was. On this, there isn't really anything. I unlocked the display after it's like vibrated for some odd reason which I don't understand, and the closest you get to knowing what app is notifying you of something is if you go onto here, you see the stars, the red stars on the app. So I know I've got something in Facebook, something in Blackberry World. That's the closest you get to it. There's no, the pull down thing at the top doesn't really work for notifications. It's not. It's different to the Android and iOS implementation of the status bar pull down. If you put it down here, obviously you get some settings, which is perfectly useful. If you go into a different app, say the camera, and there's a picture of my cat, you put it down here, and nothing happens. And if I go into the camera, it's basically an option to get more settings for the app. So you put it down here and you get, not very useful, you get the help button and the settings, which you can get to like through here anyway. So it's not particularly useful. I would just prefer if it was just one consistent thing throughout. And I don't know how to get back. There we go. Just tap on that. It just doesn't seem particularly nice. Now to get to your notifications, you slide up and go this way. Yeah. But I don't understand what. You have this little pane here on the just to the left of my finger. You can see the notifications. It would be far more useful if it bring you to a screen with those on it rather than defaulting to text messages, because then you have to do another swipe to get to here, and it just all seems a little confusing. It's just not particularly easy. Now, obviously, I've said that this is pretty much a task manager, and the way that works is just the X is at the bottom. If I can get there, you just do that, and so that's simple enough. It just seems a little bit unintuitive, to be fair. The dialer, you know, pretty normal. One thing that does work really well is the email application on Google, because I have a custom Gadget First email address, which is through 1&1, and so obviously it doesn't automatically find the settings on certain phones. It'll be like, oh, I can't find the settings for this, so I have to put in imap.1&1.co.uk, put in all the server stuff. iOS is the worst for that by far. You just have to put in every single bit of bloody information. Google is slightly better, but this is perfect. It just gets all the settings automatically, no matter what. Type it all in. It takes a minute. It takes a little longer because it is finding all the settings. But then you don't have to type in anything. It's just right there. You don't have to put in any settings whatsoever. So that's really brilliant. And the email application itself isn't bad either. There it is. So there you go. You can see my emails there, and it's a fairly easy app to get your head around. So I do like the email app. Let's go back onto the camera a second. Where's that? Bottom right. I do like the camera on this phone. The software isn't too bad either. It's a bit minimal. Not too many settings you can get onto. That's pretty much it there. But the camera itself does take really good pictures, and you can move the focus around, and the shutter speed is really nice and quick. If I show you, just tap anywhere to take a photo, and it's done. You can't slide to get to your photos like you can on iOS, Windows Phone, and Android. You have to click down here, which takes you into a separate app. So it's a little bit slower, but it doesn't matter too much. And there's quite a bit of detail in the photos. So that's just a first look at Blackberry OS and the Blackberry itself. Autofocus. To be fair, I don't think it's anywhere near iOS or Android, especially the apps. There's literally, you can get to the bottom of a category of apps with a few flicks. It's dreadful. There's such a dearth of apps. There's pretty much nothing for it. And the apps that are on it, they're not very good. Certain apps, you know, they're perfectly well made, but a lot of them are just terrible. Ports from Android, a lot of them. And I'm not saying Android apps are terrible, because on the whole they're not, but they're ports, and they're crap ports. So Blackberry App World, or Blackberry World, is pretty disappointing. Email, it's really good for email, and the gestures, they're not there yet. They're just a bit too unintuitive. They're not like, if we see the Ubuntu phone, Ubuntu running on phones, that looks amazing. The gestures on that seem really good, and they just work better as well, because well, the demo was on a Nexus 4, which has these edges here, really smooth edges, so your finger, instead of getting to the edge and duffing on it, it just slides off. Whereas on the Blackberry Z10, you've got a little edge here, which means gestures don't work as seamlessly and smoothly as they do on a Nexus. So definitely the integration of gestures on Blackberry isn't as good as what we've seen on the Ubuntu OS for the phones. So it's a little bit disappointing from Blackberry. Obviously we'll have a full review and a full run over of what the actual phone is like, hardware. But at the moment it's not looking brilliant for Blackberry. It's not the saviour of the Blackberry world at all.